Hey everybody and welcome. I'm Dr. Butler and welcome back to the MD Investor Podcast. So today I want to talk about and focus on the idea that business is not personal. Now, a lot of times when I say business isn't personal, people might not understand exactly what I'm referring to. However, when I say business is not personal, you have to understand that what you do for a living is part of a business. People who you interact with on this part of business cannot be personal. And a lot of times people take their personal feelings from this. People take a lot of how they interact with people personally. And sometimes it can affect your workplace. There's plenty of times where people are like, I can't stand my boss. I can't stand these people that I work with. I can't stand this hospital. I can't stand the staff here. The administrator doesn't care. Here's the thing about it. None of those things are relevant only because you're taking it personal and it has to be considered business. So, what you're doing at this hospital, what you're doing on your job, what you're doing in your everyday when you leave the house is being a representative of your own business. You're representing your business, you're representing your brand as a person, and then other people have to dictate the value of that brand. So when I say business is not personal, you cannot take this and create a personal brand for yourself that makes you look bad or that makes people anticipate your value not being high. And it took me a long time to learn this. Even when I was in residency, a lot of people might have thought that I was kind of like a jerk or standoffish because I keep to myself very often. I'm not very social, I'm not very interactive with a lot of people. And it took me a while to realize that what I was doing was creating a brand that's not open and that's not receptive for myself. As myself, I'm Dr. Butler and I represent myself as a brand. And my issue with this brand is that, hey, people don't know who your brand is. And they're going to judge your brand based on what you do and based on what you say and based on how you treat other people. In this case, we have to treat other people like if we're an amazing brand and like we want people to understand and want to work with our brand. So let me give you an example. For example, if I'm at a hospital and I'm being annoyed and the nurses are calling me left and right and I'm getting paged nonstop and everybody seems to want me and it seems like the entire place is burning down, and all of a sudden I go into panic mode and I start feeling like people are personally attacking me. I'm like, why are you calling me this? Why are you doing this and acting like you need me right now? Now all of a sudden, Dr. Butler is a jerk. Dr. Butler is so mean. Dr. Butler is so this. Dr. Butler is so that. I've created a brand where people don't want to talk to me or they're annoyed by me or they want to complain about me because I created a brand that says that I'm not here to help, that I'm not here to be receptive, that I'm not here to help you build and grow and be better. I took everything personally. So I was taking the personal calls like, hey, why are you guys calling me and bothering me? No, it's business. It is not personal. Their job is to conduct business on the end of their patients. My job is to conduct business on the end of the patients. We have two different interactions. However, we have the same goal in mind, which is we're here to help the patients. Same thing whether you're a lawyer, you're here to help your clients. If you're a police officer or whatever it may be, then you're here to serve the public and you're here to protect the public. So at some point in time, we kind of lose this transition where it's like now we're not serving and not helping the public, and we're not actually making that business clientele relationship something to be appreciated. As of now, it's something to be despised or annoying, right? So like if you get to work and you're like, oh man, the whole place is burning down, everyone is calling me, everyone needs me, all of my patients are this, all of my, all of the staff is that, then you start taking things personal. And when you take things personal, you don't perceive to be an amazing brand. So, for example, let's say you go on a flight and you're flying with Delta or something like that, right? If you're flying with Delta on this flight and Delta says, hey, thank you for traveling with Delta. We really appreciate it. Delta's representing itself as a business. And then they're a business saying, hey, thank you for flying with Delta. We appreciate you flying. Now, imagine the pilot didn't talk to you as the brand representative of Delta. He talked to you as himself and he took everything personal. So if he was like, Hey guys, welcome aboard. You know how like pilots have that deep voice or whatever, like whenever they get on the intercom. So what if the pilot, like everyone's sitting down on the plane is delayed, and now the pilot's extra annoyed, and he goes, welcome aboard, everybody. I'm pretty pissed off because, the air traffic controller was supposed to let us out 10 minutes ago and we're still here stuck. Now our flight's going to be late. This sucks. I can't stand that freaking guy. I wish I could just, quit right now. Man, I'd crash this plane. You would be like freaking out. If a pilot did something like that, you would freak out. You'd be like, yo, what are you doing? Stay professional. Stay in character. Stay a calm, cool, collective pilot, because I know that means you're navigating the ship. You know where we're going. You know the destination. You're keeping us safe. I don't want you to take this personally. If you're having a bad day, if your wife was pissing you off, if the kids are annoying you and pissing you off, and you take that with you to work, now you're taking something that's business and making it personal. And business is not meant to be personal. Business is meant to be business. And every time you step out of your own home, you're going outside of the world and representing your business as a personal brand. So your personal brand of business. So let that make sense, and hopefully that sinks in for you. So you can be yourself, you can be personal, you can be whoever you want to be. However, you will always represent yourself outside of your home, and outside of that, people will take you as a business type of brand. So if you're Dr. So and so, and every single time a nurse calls you, you're cursing her out and you're like, why are you calling me? Yeah, I know I'm on call, but I don't want to be disturbed. Then all of a sudden, your brand recognition is the guy who's a jerk. No one wants to call you. No one wants to be bothered with you. No one wants to face you. And then you may or may not be liked. And the thing is, it's not people don't like you, it's that the brand that you represent isn't a brand that's purchasable, right? So people know Nike, people know Adidas, people know Gucci, they know these brands, they know Coach and all of this stuff, and they know to go buy those brands because they either trust it, they bought it before, they think it's reliable, and they like to count on those brands to deliver a product that they can believe in. In this case, you have to represent yourself the same way. Because at this idea, it's like, hey, I'm Nike in this situation. So if Dr. Butler is Nike, and you know that every time you buy a pair of Nike shoes or put on a Nike jogger shirt, that you're gonna get highest quality shirt or the highest quality shoes, and then when you go to run, they're gonna work amazingly. You don't have to worry about starting to run and then all of a sudden the shoes turn into confetti and start falling apart on your feet. If that's the case, then we're not representing the brand properly. And so I had to learn the same thing because again, when I was younger, I'm not saying that I'm a bad doctor, but I'm bad when it came to people interaction. So like when nurses called me, I would be pissed off. I would be annoyed, like if they're personally trying to make me do extra stuff or they're making me clean up after their work. Same thing with other colleagues. Like I'll have colleagues and they'll do something a certain way and I do something a different way. And everybody knows the same scenario, right? If you ask 10 doctors, you'll get like 9 different ways to do something because everyone has their certain approach of doing things. However, we still have to realize that it's a business, it's not personal. So I don't have to personally be like, hey, my colleague pissed me off today, or hey, my colleague didn't open the door for me, but I opened the door for him. It's not personal. This is business. And represent your brand the way you want your brand to look to the world, the way you want your kids to see your brand. Right? When you go out into the world and you hold the door open for somebody, that's you representing your brand, right? It's personal. It's a personal brand, but what you're doing is not personal. It's business. And if people see how the brand is reacting and people see how amazing the brand is on a regular basis, whether they say thank you or not, doesn't matter. Whether or not people treat you like trash, doesn't matter. And a lot of times I might get treated like trash. There's a lot of places that I go that might be rural. So sometimes I work for places called rural physicians or whatever, and they're in rural places. So when I say rural, I mean it might be backcountry, it might be in the South, it might be whatever. And because of how I look, sometimes people don't want me there. There's a lot of times where I get people who have like swastikas or they'll have like Nazi things and they don't want to deal with me. However, because it's a rural place, I'm the only physician there. And they might request physicians that look like themselves. However, hey, at that point in time, when I'm on call or when I'm their only option. And guess what? I still have to represent my brand. I can't be like, you know what? you don't like black people, so I'm going to take this personally and I'm not going to treat you. I can't do that. One is it would be illegal anyway. It'd go against the oath that I took and we all took. But still, it doesn't matter because my job and my goal is to represent my brand. So I don't care if you're racist. I don't care if you're a crackhead. I don't care if you're a drug seeker. I don't care if everything that you did is made up and fake. I want to be able to to give you my brand so that you can understand that I'm here to help, that I'm here to serve, that I'm here to offer you the best that I can possibly be. Now, sometimes when I go home, you might be like, man, that guy was a jerk. I can't believe he was blah, 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 blah. That's when you can like unwind and unpack your feelings and stuff like that because now it's you, it's your family and stuff like that. It's personal. You can actually talk about it. You can unpack your day, whatever it may be. I'm not telling you not to be yourself. I'm not telling you not to have emotions. You are people. We're all humans. We're all going to interact with stuff. We're going to have bad days. We're going to have horrible times sometimes. We're going to have great times. We're going to have amazing times. And sometimes when we're having these episodes occur, whether it's for the good or whether it's for the bad, you have to understand that not everyone is going to react the way that you want them to react. So, for example, if you're having an amazing day and you're super cheery and you're super hot, you're super happy, remember you might still be at a hospital. So your amazing day might be somebody else's day. Maybe you got a bonus that day. Maybe you got promoted that day. Maybe you're a charge nurse that day, or maybe you just went to get partnership that day. Whatever it may be, it might be an amazing day for you, but it might be somebody else's really crappy Wednesday, and they're sick that day and they hate it. Whatever it may be, do not take it personal because what we're doing is business and we're trying to grow and we're trying to scale and we're trying to build and we're trying to be able to offer people what they need. Now, I know what you're thinking in terms of development and stuff like that. What does this have to do with being an investor? It's the same idea. Because when people know that they can trust you, when people know that they can work with you, when people know that you can stick to your word and create a brand that they can believe in, it makes it so much easier to work with you on every aspect. So whether or not you're working in a hospital or a courtroom or on the streets in terms of being like a police officer or something of that nature, whatever your career is, whatever your job may be, maybe you're in customer service, maybe you wait tables, it doesn't really matter what you do for a living. What matters is how you represent yourself as a brand and you realize that what you're doing is business and that it's not personal. And as long as you function with that in mind, you'll be able to build and you'll be able to scale. And even though it took me a while to understand this concept and really start to like try to apply it, there's times where I still need help. There's times where I still need to take a step back because it's also going to be like interdependent within your family. So there's some times where it's like, hey, you're patient with your children, right? You might be like, oh, it's okay, take your time. Oh, don't worry, you spilled the juice. And then you might be in public and then your kids start wilding out or they start doing stuff that seems ridiculous. You know, maybe they're throwing toys around in the store or they're touching everything that you told them not to touch. Now all of a sudden, you might feel snappy. You might be like, hey, I told you not to do that. Or hey, I told you. But now, is your brand being to the point where it's like it's consistent, right? Are you still representing yourself, even though that is a personal relationship? It's you and your child or your family. Are you still representing yourself the same way that you wanted to represent yourself? Are you still the same brand, right? Are you still actually being able to conduct business, whether it's at home or it's in public? Can you conduct business the same way? Are you appreciated the same way? Whether or not someone appreciates you, are you still comfortable with the output that you're doing, right? So it doesn't matter if I go to, I don't know, I could go to Chick-fil-A in California or I can go to Chick-fil-A in Texas. My goal is that the chicken sandwich that you get tastes the same, right? It has to be consistent. If it's consistent and then it's there all the time, that's what builds up reliability. Now people know, hey, I am reliable for this. I'm able to give you the same service. So at home, my kids know, hey, I'm able to be the same parent, right? Like that's the goal. I want to be the same parent. And it's a work in progress. I always want to be better and better and better. It's not like an overnight success type of thing. It's not like hitting the jackpot on a $1 billion Powerball or something like that. It just takes time. You got to consistently build on it. So even if you're working on getting 1% better or 0.5% better every single day at something, at trying to be consistent at something, All right, my bad. Let me just drink some tea or something. My throat's clogging up. All right, there we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. So if we're working on doing the same type of thing every day, if we're working on trying to be consistent every day, and even if it's a little bit of time, right? How many sticks does it take to build a house, right? You'll know when you're done, when you put the last stick, right? It's the same idea of like how many straws does it take to break the camel's back, right? It's not like, oh, I put 10 pieces of straw there. It's not measurable exactly, but you'll know when you start getting there. You keep stacking, you keep stacking, you keep stacking, and then you're adding to this skill set. So the main goal that I wanted to get by is that sometimes in life you might have things that are frustrating you. Maybe your job is frustrating. You're like, I need to quit. I can't work with this person. I can't be around this person. I can't do this anymore. The staff doesn't care. And I've been in situations like that where literally the staff does not care. To them it's just a job. Like they don't care about the patients. They care about money. It's a business. And that's the thing about medicine is it's a business. But the thing is, if you take that business to your heart personally, then sometimes it's going to affect you. And being a physician, and as myself being a physician as well, sometimes I had a lot of trouble discerning the two. And I would take what they're doing or how they're operating as a personal attack. And when you take it personal, it starts to eliminate a lot of logic. And then once you stop thinking logically, then you become that guy, right? Like nobody wants to deal with that guy or that person. Don't be that person. Don't be that guy. You're not that guy, buddy. You see what I'm saying? Like you have to be able to show your true colors, and your true colors have to represent you everywhere you go because that's your brand. That's who you are. In this case, I want to be able to have a brand that's like, hey, there's Dr. Butler. I know him. He can help me with finances. He can help me with investing. He can help me with my mindset because he's a fantastic coach. I want everyone to be able to think that, whether I'm at home and my parents have questions, or my family has questions, or my kids want to ask me questions, whatever it may be, or if I'm at work and patients want to ask me questions. And I've done the same thing. I've had patients who be like, hey, what do you think about this and stuff like, and we'll talk about investing, and we'll talk about health, and we'll talk about how health is an investment. Why? Because I want to represent myself the exact same way, and I want to be consistent, and I want to build a brand, and I want to be what people need. This is a job of service, right? We picked careers that are service. We're here for service based. Now, at the same time, service and business are interrelated. They're the same industry, right? So if you're like, I want to go to a restaurant and you want to have an amazing experience, in order to have an amazing experience, you have to have amazing service. So for people to come to the hospital, they want to have an amazing service. Why? Because they're already having a very hard time, right? They're sick. Their family members are sick. Someone is dying. Someone did die. They have to have that care and that compassion, that so when they're there, they're going to want to have that care, that compassion that lets them know that you're there for them. And you want to have that same representation, whether you're at home, whether you're dealing with your investments, whether you're dealing with family, whether you're dealing with friends, or whether you're dealing with patients in your work life. You have to remember that what you're doing is like being a business, and you're representing your brand, and it is not personal. It's meant for you to grow, it's meant for you to build, and just make it a work in progress. Try something simple every day. Like, hey, every single day, I want my brand to be this. What type of brand do you want it to be? I want it to be a brand that's friendly and that people love and that people want to be invited to, right? Like, think about any brand that you love where every time you go, you feel amazing. You see what I'm saying? Like, think about that. Like, if you love the experience that you have when you're at Walmart, that's a type of brand. Most people think Walmart might be trashy or something like that. So if that's the brand that you want to be, then go be a trashy Walmart brand. Or if you're like, oh, I feel more, comfortable at Target or whatever. Or if you want to be like, hey, I want to be for everybody and affordable so everyone comes. And maybe you could be like Marshalls. And if you're like, I exclusively want only certain people to deal with me, maybe you'd be like, Saks Fifth or Neiman Marcus or whatever brand, or Couture. Like it never goes on sale, right? So it's like that. You want to be the brand that you represent. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful for someone, and I hope that you can understand that this is a part of your mindset, and letting your mindset be built up properly is going to help you build in your future and help you strive to the next level. As always, I want to wish you guys the same thing: health, wealth, and happiness. And if you do need help learning how to invest, if you do need help understanding and getting coaching to get your mindset right, to get your finances right, to get your investments on the right track, then you can always come visit us at themdinvestor.com. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you guys in the next episode.